much for remaining with us on Africa Independent Television, AIT. Welcome once again to Democracy Today. Tonight happens to be a special edition of the program. We will be talking strictly politics, and this time we'll be looking at the APC politics in the APC, River State, the national APC, the resolution of the neck of the party, and also other things towards 2023. And with us here tonight is a senator who has been a very, very strong leader in the APC in River State. I'll be speaking with Senator Magnus. Thank you very much, Senator, for coming on the show.
Thank you, Joma. Thanks for having me.
Yes, that will be our focus tonight, but we'll just take a short break to bring you development in the polity, and when we return, we'll go straight to our discussion. Stay with us.
I'm directing that we should step up our testing. Before the end of January, we must have accomplished the targets of Presidential Task Force of 450 people tested in each of our 13 local government areas. I have suspended large gathering of people in Ebonyi State.
Thank you very much for remaining with us on the program. Like we said, if you want to be part of this discussion, all you need to do is take up your phone and join us on our social media platform. You can follow us on our Twitter handle at Democracy2Day is our official handle, or you can follow me on my handle at EJ Osamo. And we also want to let you know that this program is streamed live on all our social media platforms at Official AIT Live. You can log on to Official AIT Live on Facebook, your Instagram, the Twitter, the YouTube, and all social media platforms to be part of this program. We still have Senator Magnus Abbey with us here in the studio. Let's quickly go to issues. 2020, we'll start from there. We're heading towards the end of the year. How can you describe the political year?
Well, 2020 has been a very interesting year in more ways than one. It's also a very historic year, a year that will be remembered for centuries to come because of the coronavirus pandemic and its impact and effect on not just social life, but on economic life and even on the political life. I'm sure 2020 will also be remembered for the drama in the United States, where you know, the democracy that everybody thought had been perfected is shown to still have its flaws and its challenges. And it's a reminder to us all that at no point in time do you take any achievement or any situation for granted, because everything is fluid and still subject to change. So those who want any kind of stability need to work hard to maintain it. So for a lot of reasons, I'm sure 2020 will be long remembered by all. Also for a lot of the people that have lost their lives, basically due to the pandemic and also due to the economic crunch arising out of the entire world global recession situation caused by the coronavirus.
All right, and let me now go straight to politics locally in Nigeria and River State. But let's start with the decision of your party, the NEC meeting, which held, I think, sometime last Wednesday. And they reached a decision to dissolve all caretaker committee, all executives down to the polling unit levels in all the states across Nigeria. But some states have issues and they didn't recognize that. What would you think, what would you say of the outcome of that NEC meeting?
Well, to be very honest with you, Joma, in terms of the intent, the intention behind the actions and the reasons behind it, I would assume that a lot of party members would not see much that is wrong with it, because from what we were given to understand, the intention is to reposition the party, open it up so that all Nigerians can feel free to be part of it, and recreate a party in tune with its original mandate and the promise of change that the APC promised Nigerians. So this is a major step in the efforts to try to achieve that objective. But like everything else, intentions may be good, but the execution of that intention is where the real challenge to the party would lie. How do you achieve this without people feeling that they've lost out in one form or the other? How do you really achieve a democratic political organization that is in tune with the wishes and aspirations of its members? What is the way forward in trying to achieve that? So dissolving the structures and turning them into caretaker committees was a way of creating space so that people don't feel constricted in terms of trying to achieve those objectives of the party. But how we go forward in achieving that is where the real challenge to the APC would lie.
Okay, when you talk about dissolving it, I remember the initial APC NEC meeting that saw to this my Malaboni's committee. A lot of people went to court to challenge that NEC meeting because they said it was an illegal gathering. And today they extended their tenure to by 6 months. So do you think that this APC NEC that has had the two last NEC can be regarded as illegal?
Well, as far as I know, there has been no court pronouncement to that effect. And extending the tenure, because if people have gone to court to contend that it's illegal, that's a legal position. And until you hear the defense of the other side, and then a judge looks at the two and makes a ruling, the fact still remains that this is where the party is. But what I would say is that in terms of how we move forward with those challenges and situations, it is still not yet uhuru for the party, because a lot of the reasons and the challenges that made the first contentious NEC to hold, which was the almost virtual disintegration of the party with others and counter others and all that, and the president had to step in at that point to try to restabilize and reposition the party. So those reasons was what made that necessary and relevant at that time. That said, people going to court arise out of grievances. You know, they're not happy with one thing or the other. And if you move forward and you accommodate those, some of those grievances, some of the court cases may become moot because those interests or the anger or the feeling of injustice that necessitated them may be taken care of by the party in its bid to put positions together. But that said, like I said, if people have gone to court to challenge that, then of course it's now a game in the courts, and that would be a legal decision, not just political. But my belief is that for most of these issues, what the party needs are political solutions, not necessarily a judgment in the sense of asserting one right over the other.
Some weeks ago, just about 1 week ago, some members of your party gathered and they inaugurated caretaker committees across board in your states, that's River State. But I also saw your statement, which I saw on, I think that statement was on Monday. I saw it and I read it, where you frowned at what they did. But if the decision they took is to keep to the decision of the national body, the NEC, what is wrong about it? Having to inaugurate fresh caretaker committees across wards and the state.
You see, Ijama, I really don't want to talk about River State, because what is happening in River State is peculiar in some ways, but it's also a reflection of the greater challenges that the Nigerian democracy faces today. In the first place, the NEC decision was that existing structures of a party at zonal, state, local government, ward, and unit levels be dissolved and converted into caretaker committees. That's the resolution. Now, if you are not existing, how are you converted? So in River State, as at the date of that NEC meeting, there were no existing local government structures recognized by law in the party. There were no existing ward structures. there were no existing unit structures legally recognized by the party, because you will remember that when other states were having their congresses and all that, we were in court, up to the Supreme Court. So it didn't happen there. So when the party says existing structures should be converted into caretaker committees, of course the party must realize that states that have no existing structures would have to be dealt with differently. But you see a situation where people just go and then on their own, you didn't get that in an election. You just sit down and appoint everybody in the entire structure of the state without recourse to how others would view that, given that that was the very subject matter for which, people had been in court and issues had dragged around the party in the state. So even just looking at it from a common sense level, common sense would tell you that that action will not help to restore normalcy, promote peace, bring about unity, and help the party to come together in order to be able to move forward in Rivers State as far as Rivers State is concerned. But you see, what I would like to talk about, because what is happening in Rivers State is symptomatic. It is a symptom of the real challenge facing Nigeria's democracy. How come in a democracy people can behave like this? And you need to understand that when I say these things and when I take the positions I take, I'm not taking it against an individual. We left the PDP simply because of this kind of behavior. We're describing it as impunity, disregard for people, disrespect for the rights of citizens, blah, blah, blah. That's how we described it. Disrespect for the majority and all that. And we were going to come to the All Progressives Congress to bring progressive-minded Nigerians together. Those who will be broad-minded enough to respect the views of others, to give way to the decisions of the majority, to get other people to participate and have a voice. That is a new party. That is a new party that the APC promised to be. And that is why some of us left the PDP and came here, because things are going to be done differently. But you see, like I say to people, there is nowhere where you achieve change without pain or without challenges. So making the promise that we're going to do things differently in the APC is one thing. But actually keeping that promise will involve sacrifices on the parts of people which Nigerian politicians and Nigerian leaders, whether in the APC or PDP or ABGA or anywhere, are not ready to make, because that is not how things are done in Nigeria. So if you look at it strictly in terms of Rivers State, you have this challenge in Rivers State because a few of us stood up to say, no, we must hold the system to account. You must give us what you promised us. You must do things differently. The traditional response of politicians to all these things is to simply pot to the next party. And that's what everybody expected that, we were going to do. Once they shut you out and push you around and all that, you jump away. But where do you jump to? There is no other organization in the Federal Republic of Nigeria that has promised the people of Nigeria what the APC has promised. There is no other organization in the Federal Republic of Nigeria that has put the integrity of its leadership at the head of its actions. That the president of our party is a man of integrity and we are going to do things right. So if you can't get justice in the APC, where are you going to get it in Nigeria? Nowhere.
And if you think that with what is going on, justice is not given, what would you do?
No, we will get it, because that's why I'm telling you that you have to understand that this is not a Rivers State problem. The same thing is happening in virtually every other state, and that's why the leaders cannot speak up. Because if you speak up, they'll simply ask you what is happening in your own state. Are you accommodating others in your own state? It is not the Nigerian political style of leadership that when you have power, you accommodate other opinion. So that brings us to the most integral question, the most important question facing the politics of Nigeria. Why is this so? And the reason this is so is simple. It is because we are yet to evolve an electoral system where the people actually determines who keeps power. Once we do that, everybody's behavior will change, because the behavior is about power. Now, when people look at the dynamics of power in this country, they don't look at who has the most followers. They look at who has the best opportunity or relationship with INEC, who has the best opportunity or relationship with the security forces, who has the best opportunity or a relationship, I won't call it relationship now, but availability of cash. Those are the major factors that determine the outcome of the political power struggle in this country. So what are we saying? We need to change those dynamics so that when people look at power, what they must look at first is what the people feel. And that's what the APC promised. Once we achieve that dynamics and reorder our democracy in such a way that the feeling of the people, their wishes, their aspirations, their pains become the focus of our politics, everybody's behavior will have to change. Because if you don't change your behavior, you lose power, and nobody will follow you anyway. Because
but by changing this behavior, you still have to look at the political party that is doing this, because the party is just a name. It is the people that makes the party. If your party, the APC, promised changing dynamics in Nigerian politics, and what is going on now is not suiting that promise, then things need to be changed in the party.
That's why we're in the party. We are the party. The party belongs to us. So if you want change, you can't just sit down and you must work for it. And that's what we're doing. And we have people across this country who feel very strongly the way we feel. There are lots of them. It's not just me. You know, the reason Rivers State has become a symbol of this struggle is because we have taken our own fight all the way and insisted that, no, things must be done differently and things must be done right. And let me assure you, Joma, things are going to be done differently and things are going to be done right. Because that is the only way the All Progressives Congress can not just survive, but sustain its relationship with the Nigerian people and its hold on power. We just have to change. We just simply cannot continue doing things the way everybody else has been doing them. It's not simply going to help the party. So it's not about me. It's also not just about Rivers State, and it's not about any individual. Across the country, this is how politicians have been behaving. And across the country, people realize that that kind of behavior does not help in a democracy. So how are we going to get change? It is from the party. And that's why we have made our case consistently, peacefully, respectfully, and clearly, in such a manner that you simply have to be blind not to see it. So definitely we're confident that the APC, like I said, is the only organization in this country that has placed itself in a position where it must do the right thing. And so hopefully that is what is going to happen here. But I keep making the point that it's not about any individual. It's not about Rivers State. It is about Nigeria. It is about the promise of democracy. It is about the concept of how we get together to move this nation forward. What are the things that, if we change, can help to change everything else? The internal dynamics of our democracy is one of those things that will help to drive change in ways that Nigerians even cannot comprehend. Because when people talk, they talk about education, they talk about this, but all those things, if you don't change the political dynamics, which is how the leadership emerges in the first place, and place that in the hands of the Nigerian people in the real sense of it, how are you going to achieve anything else? So
Senator,
that is where we are.
Senator, I like the fact that you're one of those who are pushing for a stable electoral system in Nigeria. And you know, to achieve a stable electoral system in any country, first of all, you look at the foundation, and the political party is the foundation. In this, you have sacrificed, your people in Rivers State sacrificed in 2019. Even in Zamfara State, they also sacrificed for the same APC. And today, it seems that the same drama that played prior to 2019 is coming up again. I spoke with someone who is a member of your party from the northern part of Nigeria. He said the fear is that certain people are trying to hijack the APC for 2023. And 2019, they had the same problem, which affected so many of their states that they lost. Rivers State is one of them. And today we are also seeing the same thing play out. Cases are in courts in Rivers State and some other state, but yet the national body of the APC cannot say they are not aware, and this is happening. The man who is the state caretaker committee chairman today, that they call the state caretaker committee chairman, Asiko Webula, was inaugurated. Besides knowing that there are cases in court, which the party is supposed to, first of all, take a look at it. So how do you achieve the journey that you are clamoring for?
How we're going to achieve it is the same way that people all over the world have achieved change. You see, first of all, Ijoma, let me explain something to you, which I'm sure a lot of Nigerians know. The whole concept of a nation, of any country, is an artificial construct. None exists. America does not exist. People created it out of nothing because they saw land, they brought in people and created a country and its dynamics. The same thing with China, the same thing with Japan. Even the countries that you see as tribally or racially homogeneous have their differences. But over a particular territory, they create a construct and say, within this area, this is who we are. This is what we do. This is how we do it. And this is what we're proud of. And this is how we go. It is the same thing with Nigeria. Nigeria is an artificial construct. It is us, Nigerians, that will make the Nigeria that we want. And it is us, Nigerians. The APC is the same thing. It's an artificial construct. Even money is an artificial construct. None of these things are real. But the belief, the confidence, the faith that people put in them, and the hard work that goes into creating them, and the sacrifices that people make to make them work are what makes them real. So the APC is a political party. It's an artificial construct. We are the APC. It is our desires, our hopes, our aspiration for a politically mature national organization that will be able to redirect the affairs of this country based on honesty, simple precepts of honesty, truth, constitutionalism, respect for the rule of law, equality of all members and persons before the law and before the party. These are the things that we have to pursue and drive. And you know, in terms of Nigerian politics, what we're saying here amounts to turning the party inside out. But that's what we have to do. So it's not just me. I'm not the only one who feels this way. It's not just a Rivers problem. It's not only in Rivers State that you have this problem. It's everywhere. But Rivers State has become a symbol of this challenge facing the party. And I believe, like I said, that except you're blind, then you cannot see that things are wrong and things are different and things need to be done differently. So I don't think that, you know, the entire party can just waltz through a maze oblivious of everything that is happening around them, conscious of the fact that you follow this road, you know, it is likely to be a highway to nowhere, no matter how you please and no matter what who you try to please in that effort. It's a highway to nowhere. It goes nowhere, you know. So I believe that we will achieve what we're fighting for. A lot of people have despaired. A lot of people, the political system is pretty much what it is. You come, there's a maximum leader, you don't follow the leader, you're out, you're this, you're that, That's how it is. And that's how it is everywhere. And that's how it was in the PDP. And that's how it still is, even in the PDP, the APC, all the parties. But for us to do things differently, people must be prepared to make the sacrifices that are necessary, including reducing your own power so that we can move forward. So that's the struggle that we're engaged in. And it's not, we're not going to give up. It's not something that is negotiable. It's not negotiable because it's easy to negotiate it. You simply go back to status quo. But this is what the country needs. And at some point, we simply have to face off to this reality that we must be able to create a political party that is actually a political party in which the feelings of its members count, you know, in which the system is open and inclusive and, you know, that can be able to move the country forward in the way we understand it.
Now, Senator, as a party man, you have an ambition. Any person who wants to be a member of a political party has an ambition. And in politics, time is of essence. 2023 is just, you will say it's about 2.5 to 3 years from now. But it's close. And people have already started working towards 2023. When you are not so sure of the footing of your party in your state, then where would your ambition go to prior to 2020?
Ijoma, first of all, when people say everybody who is a member of a political party has an ambition, that's strictly not correct. There are lots of people, you could be right in the general sense that an ambition is a desire, you know. So in that sense, well, every human being is ambitious. But it is not correct that everybody in a political party is all about a position or something that they want to hold. No. And in my own case, I made the effort the last time to contest for the governorship. We created a storm because there are people who felt that I shouldn't even be allowed to ask. In fact, it shouldn't be heard. And I insisted that it must be heard. And it was heard. You heard it. The whole country heard it. So that is a statement that has been made. This struggle is beyond me running for governor. It's about the future of our country. It's about creating a political organization that will not only stand the test of time, but will be inclusive in its actions, thoughts, and deeds going forward with its people at its core. That's the promise of the APC. So it's not, yes, time is of the essence in the sense that we need to organize the party, prepare it for elections, at least in Rivers State before 2023. And I'm very, 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 very confident that that will be achieved. Forget what you see. That will be achieved because I don't believe that the party will allow anybody to take it on another merry dance, you know, without reason. I don't think that will be possible or that will be a likely outcome. I know that a lot of people within the leadership of the party are looking at these issues, and like I said, there are difficulties because it's not a River State thing. So people are careful. You don't want to say something and then they ask you, okay, what of your own state? What is happening here? Because everybody is practically doing the same thing. But people do realize that in order for this party to be able to move forward, we must be able to create space. The 100% leadership gambit that has been the style of the Nigerian politicians before now was sustained by the fact that, you know, the relationship between the voter and the outcome of the election was blurred. If you clear that pathway, which the president has repeatedly said is what he's going to do, every political party has to reason differently. And people simply have to understand that you win when you get 51% and above. You don't have to carry everything and pursue everybody before you win. A friend of mine who is a minister was complaining to me about his governor. And I said to him, no, don't bother, because the way you're going with the idea that you want to wrestle the governor, you two now want to be, it's just to replace one feudal lord with the other. I said, no, focus on the electoral system and the internal dynamics of the party. Let's create a party that is democratic. If the governor realizes that you have 10 people, he has 20, and he needs 50, he will take you and your 10. He now has 30. He still has to go and look for another person who has 5. That's how politics is. But the way Nigerian politics works is that nobody needs anybody. Once you have power, you relate with the police, you can be the person getting the police, you are the person getting the money, you are the person you don't need anybody. So instead of looking for people, you look for the levers of power. So once we dismantle these levers of power and return power to the people within the political system, everybody will be looking for somebody. And that's what we want to achieve. Unless we achieve that, the people are inconsequential. And that is not the promise of democracy. So no matter the political party, how do we create a democracy where the people actually control power? That's what this struggle is about. That's what the conversation is about. So I don't want to sit here and talk about any individual because it's not an individual problem. It's a systemic problem that simply has to be addressed for this country to be able to move forward.
Okay. Well, let's quickly just call for a short break, and we'll still be talking with Senator Magnus Abi. And when we return, we'll be looking at the electoral system in Nigeria He just made a statement, how we create democracy where the people, the power belongs to the people. When we return, we'll do more on that, but let's go for a short break. We'll be back after the statements.
ART News, providing a strong, engaging voice for African enterprise and Black contributions to global development, putting the people first.
All right, thank you very much for remaining with us. Like we said, you can be part of this discussion. Follow us on our Twitter handle at democracy2day with a double Y, or you follow me on my handle at EG Osamo. Drop a comment there. We might take your comment if we have the time, but if not, your comment will be taken in subsequent editions of the program. And a few days to the end of 2020, Nigerians are also talking about electoral reform. Senator Magnus, I need to take you from the last statement you made before we went to break. Creating democracy where the people has the power. We've been talking about amendments to our electoral laws to accommodate modern style of elections, e-voting system, to also check the political party structures in Nigeria. But what we observed in prior to 2019 is that the 8th Assembly tried all they could to bring up amendment to the Electoral Act, but the president didn't sign it into law. One of the reasons he gave was that time is too close to an election, and that cannot be achieved. He also promised that immediately after the election, the new bill would then be signed into law. And today, it seems that they are still battling. In the National Assembly, they are still sitting. The Ninth Assembly is still sitting, trying to put one-on-one together to also bring out another law that will help our electoral system. Do you think that the president, who you say is determined to achieve credible election in Nigeria, will attend to this new law at this time, this new bill at this time? You think so?
Well, you said that the president said.
He promised.
He promised.
Immediately, but we have not seen him.
Yes, but you have to understand that in a democracy, you can make your own efforts, but the system has to bring out what it brings out. And as far as Nigeria is concerned, I think why the president's promise and commitment to electoral reform is important is because he's the leader of our party, and he's the president of Nigeria, and the majority of the members of the National Assembly are members of the All Progressives Congress. But you also have to understand that each individual member of the National Assembly has his own interest, which they would also be bickering about and all that. Somebody needs to, we need to work together as Nigerians to create a reform that accommodates everybody, in which people are confident that it bestows no undue advantage on another person. That will not be easy to achieve, but it must be achieved. Secondly, I also want to say, Ijoma, that if you look at the elections since after after 2015 and 2019, you will see that there's been quite a lot of improvements in the elections. And even in the president's second term, you will also see that there has been a lot of improvements in INEC, all trying to achieve the same thing, even without the electoral reform bill, which is necessary to give teeth to some of these changes and eliminate some of these junctions where, the will of the people are easily thwarted. But there's been quite a lot of improvement. I think that shows the president's commitment to the promise he made to Nigerians that we will achieve peaceful and credible elections. But that said, peaceful elections is not something that any one person alone can give to the country. Nigerians themselves have to understand the importance of elections. Everybody is looking for money. When you send youth corpers to go and conduct election, which people did because they thought that these are the most patriotic populations in the country, they all go there. What they're looking for is money. when you post people to go, it's not the president who goes everywhere to go and conduct elections. It's Nigerians who go to these places to conduct elections. No matter what kind of laws that we pass, except we educate our people to know that the way they will get the most money is by having free, fair, and decent elections. Because you go and mess up an election, you take 5,000, and that's all you're getting. But if we have an election in which the governor does not know whether he will be re-elected or not until the result is called, in which the member of the House of Assembly may not be the one anointed by the governor, you have a different country because you have a different set of rulers. And so you have different dividends in that kind of democratic investment. But it will be the Nigerian people that will make that decision that, listen, no matter what it is, we have to decide this thing. So the laws may be changed, the president may do his best, but except we educate people to get them to understand that, yes, you are looking for money. If you want money, come this way. Hold your stomach and come this way. You will get more. You will get jobs. You will get opportunities. You will not be cheated. You know, when people understand that that thing they are looking for, that road they are following will not give it to them, they will try a new road. Consistently, you know, people have been selling everything they can sell in terms of their rights. What has been the result? Who is better off? So
since it's not working, we should take the right path.
We need to educate. People need to be educated. You need to explain to them how they benefit from what you're saying. Because if you look at Nigeria today, if you even come out to say something against the interest of some entrenched politicians, it is the same people that you think you want to say something in their favor, that those people will tell to go there and go and challenge you, and they will go. But if the people are educated and they understand their own stake, they understand that this country actually belongs to them and they can claim it with their votes, the opportunity is there, the privilege is offered. All people have to do is to make the sacrifices that is needed to be able to get the right results that they want.
But when the people don't trust their leaders, what do you do?
No, it's not. It's not.
We need to educate, just like you are saying. We need to educate the people on how to embrace credible processes. When they don't trust those leaders, if you bring out 100 Nigerians today and ask them, do you trust INEC to deliver a credible election? They'll tell you no.
Yes, because they will tell you no, because INEC is a Nigerian institution. It is peopled by Nigerians. They are saying no to themselves because they know what they will do if they were in INEC and somebody gives them $1 million or 500 million naira, 200 million naira to go and sell. They will sell the election instantly. But if you develop the people to a point where they have faith in themselves, they will also have faith in institutions that are run by other Nigerians. Let me give you an example. When we talked about how the American experience will be part of what 2020 will be. The American democracy was not saved by the political parties. It was not saved by the leadership. More than 100 members of Congress joined Trump in trying to go to the Supreme Court to turn up an election that they knew they did not win. It was saved by ordinary Americans, polling clerks, polling officers, election officers, who, even though they were being threatened and all that, insisted on doing the thing and doing it the way it should be done. Even though the president was on TV shouting that they should stop the election, they should stop the count, they ignored him and did their job all across the country. That's what saved America. So the people must have confidence in themselves first. And they cannot have that confidence unless they are educated to understand where the road is leading. If you're following somebody and you have followed the person all these years and you have not arrived at your destination, common sense tells you that you need to look at either the vehicle with which you're traveling or the direction in which you're going and reassess yourself. Because, Ijoma, let me tell you, if I live here and say I am going to Lokoja, and I get to the junction after the airport, and instead of turning left, which is the road to Lokoja, I turn right, which is the road to Kaduna. Even if I'm traveling at 250 kilometers per hour, I'm going backwards. I'm not going forward. So we need to educate the Nigerian people. We need to set a destination for our country People need to understand that Nigeria can only be what we make of it. And nobody should feel that he's more Nigerian than the other. If you think you know everything, and then 90% of the people feel the opposite way, it is what that 90% of the people feel that is the feeling of Nigeria. So you that know, that think you know everything, your first job is to convince the other 90% to share that knowledge with you. And everything we're doing in the course of this struggle is trying to sensitize particularly members of our party, the APC, to understand that building the party, rebuilding the party the way the president has said, and building it on the foundations of justice, of equity, of inclusiveness, respecting the rights of members, is a road that will lead to what each and every one of us is looking for. That's the ambition that you're talking about. And that's how we're going to achieve it, by doing the right thing.
All right, we are still looking at Nigeria elections, but let's just delve a little away from politics and look at national issues, insecurity. There've been so much cry. The few weeks ago, the killing of farmers in Borno State, abduction of the students in Katsina State, kidnapping on the roads towards the southern part of Nigeria, the killing, the NSAS protests and all that. Those things are still very fresh in the heart of Nigerians, and you see some kind of fears within the people. Your party promised before they came that they were going to bring succor to the people of Nigeria. But today, the same people that they govern are still shouting. Where is the way forward?
Yes, Ijoma, first of all, let me join all Nigerians in commiserating and extending my condolences to Nigerians that have lost their lives across the length and breadth of this country. It is not an easy thing. Figures are figures unless you know the person. Then it becomes a different thing. If they say 2% of people somewhere died, you don't know any of them. It's not an issue. But when they call you and say your mother or your father or your brother, it's a different matter entirely. And all these people that we're talking about are mothers, their fathers, their brothers, their sisters to our fellow Nigerians. And I think that, it's really, 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 really sad. But that said, Ijoma, I will tell you three things. First is that people do not understand the impact of economics on law and order in any society. This world this year has lost $1.2 trillion due to the economic impact of COVID-19 on the world economy. Around that, $1.something trillion. Now, that's $1.something trillion is just a figure until you know and get to understand that part of the money you used to have that you don't have anymore is part of the 1.2 trillion that they are talking about. Your brother who had a job before and he no longer has a job is part of that 1.something trillion. The small egunje that people used to be able to pick up on the side in what they are doing that is simply no longer available is all in there. So there has been a devastating economic meltdown across the world, and including Nigeria. And no government or political party or president could have foreseen, this kind of impact and its consequences on the economy. And anytime people get this broke, there is bound to be challenges to law and order. So that's taken. Secondly, while we continue to work on the security infrastructure, we should not downplay the importance of, economic resurgence, to returning this country to a part of order and stuff. Because a lot of people are doing these things. They're pushed by hunger. There's some people who cannot accept the drop in their lifestyle. This is how they used to live. They just can't live that way anymore because the economic circumstances will not allow them to live that way. So they turn to criminality, which is the fastest way to try to collect from others, what they have. So we must also look at that. Thirdly, when we are looking at security, we must also be able to understand the effect of, local community interface with the security architecture in place in any given place. But for me, the most critical way to address a lot of these issues is simply for us as a country to target a country in which one person is not seen to have undue advantage over the other, because that's what really justifies criminality for a lot of people. You know, when the system, you feel the system is rigged against you, the system is giving opportunity to others that you're not getting. Even within the security services, there are people who feel that no matter how they work, they're not going to get promoted because they don't have the right connections, they don't know the right people and all that. And people who don't work as hard get everything. So where is the incentive for them to put in their best? So I believe that sometimes we leave the real issues and go chasing after things that will not really make the difference that we want. If we address some of these economic challenges, and I don't see addressing economic challenges solely in terms of giving payouts to people. Because if you get a payout today, you eat today, you're very happy, you're thankful, you're praising everybody. By next week, when you're hungry, you cannot eat the memory of the one you ate last week. You need new food for today. So we have to address our economic problems with long-term solutions in mind. You know, not palliatives, but long-term solutions, solutions that create jobs, that expand opportunities for the bulk of the people, that reward people who work hard so that their families can see that in that hard work that my father is putting in as a policeman, this is the more benefit that it has brought to the family, and justify more work. You know, in that hard work that my father is putting in as a soldier, this is the reward that he's getting. But among these people, they know who is working hard, they know who is capable, they know who is doing the work, and then they can see who is getting the money. So if we address all these issues systemically, I believe that we will make progress faster than we are doing currently. But the blame game approach to our security issues will not help anybody. Because no matter what you say, people don't have money, they don't have food, they don't have this, they have lost their livelihoods and all that. There's bound to be an upsurge in crime. And that's what this is. So we need to move quickly to try to address some of these challenges.
Yes, during the NSAS protest, we saw young Nigerians, after the protest, talk about taking over power from the class of politicians that we have today. I've also heard them say, we will do it the other way since we couldn't do it with the protest. Election 2023 is gradually coming. In Ghana, two things played out. The economy was put at the center, the fight against corruption at the center, human rights, approach to human rights and the abuse of human rights on the citizenry. They also used it to vote, though the incumbent won the election. In the US, we also saw health, the COVID-19, the economy, and human rights too are still one of them. In 2015 in Nigeria, they used insecurity for election. They used the economy for election. And the All Party also promised, they built their mantra on tripartite issue of security, economy, as well as the fight against corruption. We are moving towards 2023. And today, people are already changing their mind, saying that we didn't achieve the promises the APC promised us before they came into power in 2015. The reason why they got so much vote from Nigerians, because Nigerians at that time were tired of living the life they saw. Now, towards 2023 again, another one is here. The semi-security is here. Corruption is not being tackled properly. And the issue of the economy, just like you said, and now we have another phase of COVID-19, which has come that dealt a blow on the economy, in the global economy. So how would you as a politician talk to people whose minds are made up?
I don't believe that people's minds are made up in the way in which you reflected. I think that the APC government has done well in some areas. There's still quite a lot of challenges. Some of those challenges are challenges that it's not the fault of the government or the fault of anybody. These are things that are totally out of the control of the system. But given that, COVID-19, the economy, all these things are bad. But how you handle them can be good. So I see the things you are describing as challenges also as opportunities for the government to showcase its ability. And that's what I think the government is trying to do. So if you look at COVID-19, for example, Trump lost because of how he handled COVID-19. The Prime Minister in New Zealand won because of how COVID-19 was handled. So nobody caused it, but how you handle it can be a plus or a minus. And in this country, I think that the way COVID was handled so far has been exemplary. You know, now Nigerians are getting careless. There is a second wave, but hopefully the vaccine is close by. We're going to get it next year. I believe that's what I heard. The SGF promise that 20 million doses have been ordered. So I think that the government is doing very, very well in terms of how they're handling COVID. So that may be a plus for the government at the end of the day. Insecurity is a challenge, and there's no denying it. You know, but like I said, before this present set of challenges, the government has actually made quite a lot of progress in terms of battling insecurity. But with the challenge of COVID, hunger, everything, it's spiraling out of control again. And that, to me, presents another opportunity for the government to also show that they can do better, even in the face of the present challenges. So I don't see it all dark. I see if you're somebody who likes to work hard, when there is work, it's an opportunity to showcase your ability. If there is no work, you can't showcase your ability. So what I think now is that this is an opportunity for this government to showcase its ability to the Nigerian people. That, listen, yes, we understand that these challenges are there. We understand that, you know, people are in both economic pain. We understand that there is insecurity and all that. But this is our plan, and this is what we're doing, and this is how we're going to tackle it. I think that if they convince the people, and people see us working in the light of that compact, I believe that it will be a plus for the APC at the end of the day. Even look at our handling of the oil slump in oil prices. With the way the minister and the GMD and the NMPC was able to handle it, Nigerians don't know that the country actually experienced an almost 60% drop in revenue. You know, because people were able to use that opportunity to showcase their ability to be able to do something differently. So I see opportunity in challenges. I don't just see it as a dead end. And for the APC government, I think that this is a time of opportunity.
Senator, before I let you go, I want to ask a personal question. Are you running in 2023 in your state as governor?
Ijoma, you see this whole thing of everywhere people are, oh, you're running, 2023. That's not what it's about. I would like to see a better Nigeria. And I'm ready to make any effort, any sacrifice that will help us to achieve a better Nigeria. If running for governor would help us to achieve a better Nigeria, why not? I will run. If not running will help us to achieve a better Nigeria, why not? I won't run. But my focus is that we must have a country that works better for the majority of our citizens. I think we owe our people that much. I think we owe this country that much. And I think that some of us who have benefited from the best of Nigeria should do everything possible to hand over to the next generation a better country than the one we met. That's my focus for now.
And finally, some of your members in your state defected to the PDP. And why some members from the PDP also defected to the APC?
I just explained that to you. That's how Nigerian politics is. The same thing they are running to in the PDP is already here. The same thing they are running from. So the only solution to that is for us to sit down and together create a party that accommodates everybody. If you do that, PDP will empty out, because that's what everybody really wants. You know, they just don't think is achievable. They think what we're talking about is a fantasy. But a lot of things that people have achieved today were fantasies when people started talking about them. And if you don't dream big, why dream at all? You know, if you limit yourself in your dreams, I mean, I was telling you, if you're poor in real life, at least in your dream you can be a millionaire.
You have to be a millionaire.
So go for the best.
Thank you very much. Okay, yes, another question is the South and the North presidency for 2023. Do you think at this time we should be talking about whether somebody comes from this region or that region?
In the Nigerian context, that is inescapable. You have to be realistic. You know, people must look at North and South and all that. But what you must understand about Nigeria is that Nigeria actually has a zonal structure. And the zonal structure is that you have
For this region,
you have those zones.
Yes.
So when people talk about the North, yes, there's been presidents from the North, but they are not all from the same zone. So there are also zones in the North that are making the case that, listen, we have never been president too. But if you are from the South, you don't understand it that way because you don't see them differently. It's the same way, you know, on the other side. So when you look at the South, there are zones like the Southeast that has not produced a president. When you look at the North, there are zones like the, you know, that have also not produced a president, I think like the Northeast and so on. So it's going to be an interesting conversation. But the assurance I would like to give to Nigerians is that the important thing is that we should choose a president. And it should be somebody who has equal affection for every part of Nigeria, who understands the country as one, and who understands that building Nigeria is something all of us need to do together. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you too. We've been speaking with Senator Magnus Abbey, and he has said it all: the economy, elections, party politics, up to security, national issues, and even down to the Rivers State APC internal wrangling. You heard from him, and we'll still be talking with him before we get to the 2023 elections, especially the Rivers APC. I will come back to talk more on that issue because it's an important one, because he plays a very important key in the party structure of Rivers State. But this is where we'll stop tonight, and hoping that when we come again to him to have another interview, we'll be talking another dimension. Until tomorrow, when we return for another episode of the program, I'd like to say keep tweeting and sending me messages on my handle at EG Osamo. Good night.